In my last video, I talked about the reasons for the current shift in software pricing due to AI and how AI is fundamentally decoupling software value from human headcount. But once you decide to move away from pure seats, how do you optimally price your product? Pure usage, hybrid, outcome-based. Today, I'm going to review the core B2B pricing models for the AI era. We'll look at the pros and cons of each, specifically regarding adoption friction and budget uncertainty, and I'll show you which model applies to which type of AI product. My name is Roland Umlauf. I am a CFO and strategy consultant working with startups and innovation projects. Welcome back to my channel. Let's start by talking about the AI products themselves. Extremely broadly speaking, and for the purpose of this video, I will differentiate between the following types of products. First, copilots and assistants. Those are enabling employees to perform their tasks faster, better, or at a lower cost. Second, autonomous AI agents. So those are performing tasks independently. So for example, these can be, process automation bots or customer service bots. Third, AI-powered information systems. So things like, business intelligence platforms, analytics, or other, company-wide or even systems shared by a team. And lastly, AI model providers or AI tech companies, for example, providing pure play content generation. Next, let's look at some of the usual pricing model options that we see in the market, and we'll start with the two models that represent the opposite ends of the spectrum respectively when it comes to risk from, budget uncertainty. First up, the traditional seat. It's actually not dead, but it's evolving. AI seats nowadays, they tend to include usage limits or fair use clauses. They're a great model for budget predictability. Enterprise procurement teams, they love this stuff because this fits into their existing headcount budget mindset. The big downside of this model is that, it can be a margin killer for the software vendor, obviously, if you don't have the proper guardrails in place, and it can be a value mismatch for buyers, creating shelfware risk if they fail to actively manage the transition to actually using the AI tools that they're buying in their processes. This pricing model, it works really well for products like copilots, specifically if the AI actually sits on top of an existing SaaS product. Let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum, and here we would find the pay-per-use or maybe a prepaid credit bundle, right? Here we're charging per token or per API call, per megabyte, or whatever other relevant usage metric. The pay-per-use model is really best for infrastructure products, developer tools, or backend data processing, but it's not something that a non-technical buyer would start purchasing at scale. Yet, it's actually a great model if your primary pain point as a software vendor is not so much revenue or gross margin, you're not expecting to sell at scale yet, but you're still trying out your product market fit. It helps to reduce barriers to entry and works really well in those initial stages of a startup that is still trying to refine its, value proposition. If there's a lack of trust on the buyer side when it comes to the actual productivity or the quality of outcome from the AI tool, this pricing model can really solve your problem. It also aligns costs directly with the vendor's computational costs. So this is really great for locking in gross margins for the software company. The big problem with this model is the high budget uncertainty, which makes it unfit for larger enterprise deals at scale. So I'm talking after a POC or proof of concept. It can also have another effect where it severely limits usage due to what I call the taximeter effect, which is kind of a psychological barrier to pay-as-you-go models where users limit their usage to a bare minimum because they know that each time they click, it will cost them extra money and they're afraid of a surprise bill at the end of the month. Actually, kind of, think about your Netflix subscription, for example. If we wouldn't pay, a fixed amount of money per month, but we would have to pay for each movie that we're watching, we would probably watch a lot less movies and we would probably pay a lot less money at the end of the month. Next up are outcome-based models. Well, they're similar in nature to the pay-per-use. They're also very different because you are paying only for a successful outcome. You're paying for the result, not for the effort. So when we're looking at agentic AI, where the software is actually performing a task entirely on its own, this makes a ton of sense and it actually aligns cost perfectly with value. So there's no shelfware risk here. In terms of budget predictability, it's actually also not really that bad for buyers, as this sort of, starts to click into their operations and you can budget this in relation to, let's say, the level of company activity rather than anything else. For the software vendor, it can create a bit of, headache around revenue predictability, and it actually might create a bit of a tough sell to your, investors. But the biggest problem is that it is extremely hard to operationalize. Buyers and sellers need to agree upfront on what is considered a, successful outcome and how to measure that objectively. Outcome-based models, they work great today for products, focused on customer support, lead generation, or, highly standardized workflows, anything where success really is very binary. For agentic AI, we also see so-called agent-based models that, kind of mimic human salary. But at the end of the day, those are more of a flat fee with some sort of a built-in usage cap, nothing else. Finally, hybrid models have emerged as a middle ground, and these are used by about half of AI companies today. So these models are subscription with pooled usage caps or models with usage caps and overages. What does that mean? Here you pay a flat fee for a usage tier that includes a set amount of AI actions or outcomes. And users would pull these credits from a shared pool. Usage is either limited by a hard cap, after which access to the service is actually cut off, or there is an overage agreement in place where any additional actions are being paid for at a higher rate than the ones included in the subscription pack for that extra usage. This is currently the most common model for AI companies that are scaling. The pros here, it balances the vendor's need for protecting their minimum gross margin with the client's need for a stable budget ceiling. The cons are that once you hit that cap, you either lose access to the service or you're billed for overages, which can lead to, bill shock if it's not managed properly with, good real-time alerts, etc. Different usage tiers should be in place as well in order to match the company's consumption with its subscription tier. These are currently the most used B2B SaaS models for products like, shared assistance, AI information systems, and, products that add agentic features but need to offer budget predictability. So how do you choose? Well, to summarize, if your AI supports humans, like, copilots do, aim for a seat or a hybrid model. So bundling AI into your premium tiers is a safe way to upsell on your SaaS without breaking procurement. If your AI performs autonomous tasks, so, we're talking about agents basically, move towards more of a usage or outcome-based model. But, and this is key, you need to define outcome properly, and I would also wrap them into subscription with a usage cap or, maybe a prepaid credit package if possible. This gives the client a sensation of predictability of a block purchase while you're able to protect your gross margin. And finally, if you're in the, API or infra play, just go for that pure usage model. And if necessary, include those guardrails like auto top-ups or usage caps. And also, please remember, your pricing is part of your product, and it will probably need you to, iterate a few times before you get it right. Same as, with any of your other product features. I'm Roland Umlauf. If you have found this useful, please hit that like button. And if you're interested in more content on startup finance and pricing, please hit subscribe.